There's a pug down here.
Who's a pug?
Ludo's visiting. Handsome boy.
We're going to cut this out.
No, he's so handsome.
We're definitely cutting this out.
No, he's so handsome. You can hear how handsome he is.
We have to cut it out. We're not going to be those animal podcast people. Boom.
Man, tonight is a night full of interruptions.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Site Attendant Podcast.
Again.
The 13th time.
Wait, is this the 13th episode?
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of lost count after 10.
Well, for those of you who aren't up to speed, we are 3 after 10 now.
Mm-hmm. That's how that works. Yeah. Super excited to be back again. Another great film in the books. No, actually, I thought this one was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
You got any old announcements for us?
Not necessarily announcements, but we did get some interaction, which was really cool. One of our listeners from Wisconsin messaged me to tell me that she was watching The Mandalorian with AD and that she got used to it really quick.
Yeah.
And she also wasn't anticipating the language that they use. So she specifically cited The Mandalorian delivers the coup de grace. And she was like, I never considered that the language might be exciting. I just kind of assumed it would just be descriptions.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely plays a part, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were watching some nature doc the other night with audio description, and I definitely was excited at moments.
Yeah. Well,
So.
it kept saying herbivore, and that was really annoying because
yeah.
You know what the animal is.
Well, so here's the thing. I was thinking about it a little bit more. So take this, right? Let's say you and I were writing the audio description for a nature program, okay?
Yeah.
And we see... Is that Frisco?
No, that's Midna scratching.
Upstairs, yeah. Let's say we're watching a nature doc, and we see a musk ox, okay? And he's just standing out there on the savannah.
Being musky and oxy.
Yeah. Do musk oxen, are they on the savannah?
I
don't know.
don't.
Either way. So he's hanging out there, right? And we're writing the script for the audio description, okay? And I'm 40% sure that it's a musk ox. I'll just write herbivore.
But how do you know that it's an herbivore? Why would you know more about its diet than its name?
Well, so I think in general, if it doesn't have pointy teeth, it's probably an herbivore.
How do you know that it doesn't have pointy teeth?
I mean, I imagine you, my guess is that you see it munching on some grass.
No.
So you call it an herbivore. Either way, all I'm saying is I think that it's a result of the person writing the audio description not being positive as to what the name of the animal is.
But
so just defaulting to...
Why wouldn't they just contact the company that did the filming?
I don't know how the whole thing works. I know that typically audio descriptive works, and I'm trying to think of some of the other companies that I've heard named, but these companies don't necessarily have wildlife experts, and I don't know what they whether they're contracted through the network or through the production company that made the show in the first place. You know what I mean?
What size company would you say it would be?
Probably a big company. That's a Donald Trump reference for people who aren't familiar with the current U.S. president. Oh. He says things like big company sometimes. But yeah, so I imagine it's just a matter of the person writing the script for the AD not knowing. But that's the best I can come up with.
Well, at least it had AD. One step at a time. But back to The Mandalorian and our friend in Wisconsin. She said that, honestly, during the pandemic, I find it super hard to focus on things and I think that this audio is helpful to keep me engaged. It's the first time I've ever listened to anything that's been audio described, but I think it's good. It's never on top of character audio. It's a female voice, which I like, and it's nice to hear the terminology and the names of the different Star Wars aliens, ships, items.
Yeah, that's one thing too, is like in situations where they are working directly, like, so Disney made The Mandalorian, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're also the company that like contracted directly for that audio description.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that communication's a lot easier. And I imagine they were potentially like people at Disney or Lucasfilm were the ones writing the AD track. They're like writing the AD script.
Mm.
But
so it won't be like Fuzzy Little Bear. Like they'll have names for them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which I noticed on, I believe, the Star Wars Episode 5 AD, that they referred to a character as a Jawa when it was definitely not a Jawa. And I don't remember. I'll have to go back and find what it was. But they referred to a creature by its actual name.
Incorrect name.
Yeah, not by its scientific name.
Oh, yes.
I have grievances to air.
I love you so much. But another one. So you're talking about script writing. She wanted to know if it's a voice actor or something, and if they have a script to read, or are they describing like what they see, or some combination of both?
I believe, my understanding, to at least the best of my understanding, is that it is sometimes it's the same person. I know that for sure. Sometimes it's a separate person that will write the script out for them, and then they'll read it. And I don't know exactly. Maybe we can get a little interview with a person that does audio description for some popular programs. But the best I've been able to understand is someone writes the script, someone does the reading, and then a third person like edits the track together. Sometimes they're all the same person though.
It's kind of like how we run our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like doing it in real time would be quite difficult, but I will say that there are a few playhouses, theaters that do live real-time AD for stage shows.
Dang.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's our pal's AD experience. Did they say anything else about it, or just that it was like easy, like they got used to it pretty quick?
They just enjoyed that it was like a lady voice. And like we have noticed a lot of different recordings and stuff have been like people with accents or lots of lady voices and stuff like that. So it's nice to get that variety. Oh my God, it's 7:00 at night.
Hit some caffeine.
No.
We're not doing those iced coffees. Yeah, so one thing I noticed on the Game of Thrones AD is that it is a person with a British accent, an accent of the Queen. Not sure.
I'm a bit of a peasant. I'm not familiar.
Yeah, well, I don't know, like, if it specifically, like, is on, like, if, like, they contracted to get, like, the British released AD, or if there was an AD produced by an American company. I don't know. But it's just interesting, I guess, that's got a British accent. And I've noticed a couple other things that had, like, a audio describer with a British accent. So, other big audio description news. Oh, boy.
Ba-ba-ba.
HBO Max settled their suit today because they were being sued by 2 individuals and 2 organizations at the same time. I think it was all part of the same suit because they have no audio described content, which we've bitched about pretty regularly on this podcast. They did it. They're currently committed to at least 1,500 hours of audio described content between now and March of 2021.
Dang.
It's at the end of March of 2021. So that's a lot of content, which is great. And I imagine a lot of the movies they have probably already have audio description somewhere. So they just got to like go out and get that. But the other stuff, and it says moving forward, all original content will also be audio described. And anything that was in or that had moved into post-production after the launch of HBO Max, which was March of this year, 2020. So I don't know if that will include Lovecraft Country or not, but
I'm not sure.
Either way, it's great news. Really excited. A little bit disappointed that they had to be sued, basically, but still really exciting.
That is very exciting.
I know, like, we were just talking about Game of Thrones. It already has audio description, so like that'll be a quick win for them because how many hours is that? What is it? 7 seasons?
No, it's 6.
Call it 6 seasons, roughly.
6 seasons of 10, and then the 7th and 8th are 13 together.
So just call it roughly 85 hours of content. Are the episodes an hour each?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. You got 85 hours right there. And I don't know if they'll re-record that audio description or if they'll just use like what's already available on the DVDs. But yeah, really great news. Super excited. I'm really hoping they go back and do True Detective.
Ooh.
Because I really loved season 1 of True Detective. Was really good. Because I think that was like the beginning of Skinny Matthew McConaughey. And Skinny Matthew McConaughey is a way better actor than Buff No Shirt McConaughey.
Why?
He's just a better. I don't know. I can't tell you why. But he's the Dallas Buyers Club. Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah, I forgot how skinny he was in that one too.
I mean, he's said to be all coked up.
Yeah.
You know, Coke make you lose some weight. So
I don't know anything about Coke. You know this.
Well, I mean, you know about like pop culture's portrayal of Coke and Coke use.
I suppose
is that everyone's all skinny. But yeah, I really hope they go back and do that.
Hi, Frisco.
I'm hoping they go back and do Carnival. Did you ever watch Carnival on HBO?
No. Frisco. Frisco's visiting. Hey, Frisco, can you lay down? Oh, hey, God. Oh, he's on my cord. Frisco, what are you doing? You're ruining my life. I'm just kidding. Frisco, down. Good boy. He's making a racket.
Holy crap.
Do you want to talk about a film?
Yeah, a Nic Cage film, in fact. Let's do that.
It's called
Go ahead.
8mm.
Oh, 8mm.
That's the size of Jordan's penis. I've been waiting forever to say that.
Have you?
Yep.
That's good. It's a very nice thing for you to say. It's actually the size of your nipples.
Thank you.
Big, giant 8mm ones.
Just like they hang down.
They're like half a Slim Jim. Yeah, right?
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, you come at me with your bullshit.
Now I'm just imagining half a Slim Jim between your legs. So
there you go.
Anyway, getting into this movie.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of nipples and penises, this movie, I will go ahead and trigger warning up front. This movie is about murder. It is about sexual violence. It is about sexual murders. Specifically dealing with snuff films. Anything else to warn against?
I don't think so.
I'll hit you with the trivia up front that it had to go through like 4 separate edits to get it down from NC-17 to R.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And the scriptwriter got in like a huge argument and basically disowned the film because of how much they were toning it down.
Well, I mean, if they have to appeal to a bigger audience.
Well, this, like, the workshopping of this whole film went through 110 different stages of being a gritty, like, handy-cammed done film starring Russell Crowe to what we ended up getting.
That is wild.
Yeah. I think Bruce Willis was, Nick Nolte, Val Kilmer. There were a bunch of people. Like,
Well, thankfully, they went with the right choice.
went with Nic Cage, our boy.
It's your boy.
Anyone else in this like super recognizable other than Nic Cage and Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes. James Gandolfini is in it.
Oh yeah, James Gandolfini's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Catherine Keener is also in it.
I don't know who that is. Should I?
I know you don't. I knew as soon as like I wrote it down in the notes that you wouldn't know.
I don't know people.
You don't know women.
Oh, is that? I don't know men either. I don't know your Goggins boy. What's his name?
Walton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
She was in Being John Malkovich.
don't know that film.
She was also in Capote.
Don't know that film.
The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Okay, you just listed 4 films about old white dudes.
Yeah.
And
She was also in Get Out.
And I don't know those films, so the idea... Get Out's about old white dudes too. So this idea that it's only women that I don't know is not true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sexist. You're sexist.
You're definitely sexist. Did you hear you talking about my nipples earlier?
Oh, is that sexism?
That's very sexist.
Oh, sorry.
Did
so yeah.
you ever watch any of the Percy Jackson films?
No. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Boys?
Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
No.
Not all Olympians are lightning boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, never saw any of those films.
Jeez. Did you see Get Out?
Yeah.
Because she was in Get Out.
I didn't see Get Out.
Oh.
I watched Get Out though.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know who that McKenna, what's her name? I don't know that lady.
Catherine Keener.
Yeah.
McKenna. It also has Peter Stormare in it.
See, I don't know that person, and that
Yeah.
sounds like a boy's name.
It is.
Yeah.
He's from Fargo. Did you ever watch that
I didn't
film?
ask where he was from.
Anyway, he was in the film Fargo.
Oh, okay.
He was also in the film Armageddon.
Oh,
Oh.
talking about Bruce Willis.
He's also in American Gods, the television show.
Never heard of that.
I know. You have been sort of getting into Neil Gaiman stuff.
Not really. I was just super thrilled. This should probably go towards the beginning because it is like an announcement / off discussion. But I'm super thrilled, and I'm gonna download the Sandman, the Neil Gaiman graphic novel.
Yes.
Which is done as like an audio play on Audible.
I love those audio plays.
Oh, we watched one. No, listened. That's the word I was looking for. To one. This week.
Yes.
What was it called? Escape from
Virtual Island.
Virtual Island. Yeah, it was really good. Paul Rudd's, Jack McBrayer, Paula Pell.
Gene Krakowski.
Yeah.
I don't remember what her name was. I don't know.
Yeah, it was really good though.
Did you ever watch Castlevania?
No,
Okay. Never mind.
never heard of it. So yeah, 8mm.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'll rewarn. Super violence. Super sexual assault. But yeah, this film. We're gonna share this one, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this thing opens up at the Miami International Airport, which fits our vibe of side attendant. Have you been to that airport?
No.
I love it so much, and I'm excited to ask you. Is there? So he is obviously like in a concourse or a terminal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boarding a plane.
No, I think he was getting off a plane at that one.
Okay. Because the 2 times that I've been to that airport, 1 time, 2 times. Either way, I've been to that airport, and when you go to board the plane, like the jetway was this like concrete structure that was like lined with palm trees. It was
Oh,
real cool.
that sounds pretty.
And it was like it was like a concrete jetway weird thing, and you had to walk like it may have been like a quarter mile out on it, and then that's where you like go down the little fake tunnely jetway thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was really pretty. But yeah, so he flies like it's that scene, and then he lands in like Harrisburg, which is apparently his home or where he's from. And then he's interacting and talking to some senator about some investigative stuff. So this is where we find out that I thought that right here that he was like in politics or in like political stuff. But turns out he's just like a private investigator type chap.
Yes, type chap. Sometimes we like look into the movie before we watch it, but most of the time we do not.
We just go in, yeah.
Yeah. Unless we're like, which one do you want to watch tonight? Well, I don't know. But what is this one about? What is that one about? But I almost like immediately forget what it's about anyway.
Oh, like if we go through a list of like 10,
Yeah.
you forget what all the other ones are about? Or
Yeah,
after
because
we watch one, you forget what it was just about?
both.
Yeah, it's kind of getting to that on some of these.
They all kind of like
they're blending together.
Blend together. Yeah.
I mean, none of them will compare to the one we watched last week, Mom and Dad. Ugh, talk about a bucket of dumpsters that one was.
Dumpsters.
Yeah, dumpsters. So he arrives back in Pennsylvania and gets called to a new job pretty much immediately, or does he fight a little bit with his wife first?
He goes home and hangs out with his wife for a little bit.
Okay. But after that, he gets called to this new first job.
Yeah.
Or new job.
New job, yeah.
Where this rich old lady with like a rich old lady accent, like a non-specific, like high-class New Englander accent, approaches him about her husband who just died, had this film in his safe, and she's like, I'm pretty sure someone commits a crime in this film. She shows it to him, and it's just straight up a snuff film.
We were not prepared.
Yeah. Like, it's a really aggressive snuff film, and Nic Cage is like sitting there struggling to watch it. But they offer him an incredible amount of money to find out who made this film. Or, no, she's more concerned about whether or not the girl died.
Yeah.
She wants to know.
She wants to know if it's real.
Yeah. So, then Nic Cage basically accepts the job, right?
Yeah. He watched it, and I wrote down V uncomfortable. Like, he's super uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah, he's...
Before, like, anything even starts happening. He's like, oh, guy in a leather mask. Ooh.
Right. So then, I mean, we could obviously dig into every little detail of, like, what he does, but he pretty immediately decides to travel to Cleveland. It's unclear why. Did we find out, like, what piece of evidence steered him towards Cleveland?
No.
Yeah.
I think we just missed it.
Yeah. Either way, he goes to Cleveland and looks through, like, books and pages of, like, missing persons records, and finds who he thinks the little lady female in the film that got murdered is, and, like, goes and strikes up a conversation with this girl's mother, basically.
Yeah.
And he does the old trick. I noted it, which is cool. It's like a salesman trick to be like, oh, yeah, the FBI agent that was assigned to the case, Mr. Agent, and you just do that, and then the person says it, and they remember it as if you said it. He does that and, like, worms his way in and talks to this mother and basically finds out that at some point a handful of years ago, she ran away to Los Angeles with her boyfriend. Right?
Yeah, he found her diary in
a toilet tank?
Toilet tank, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he asks the mom, like, oh, can I go root around in her room? And the mom tells him to go ahead. And after he, like, reads through the diary, doesn't he sit it back on, like, a desk or something?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't put it right, like, he doesn't put it back where he found it. But the diary basically says, "Oh, I ran away to L.A."
Yeah, and
And
he like basically told the mom like, "Oh, I didn't find anything,"
yeah, but
and then like
then
she finds
leaves the diary. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually.
So that sends Nic Cage to L.A.
Oh boy, hold
Well,
on.
yeah. First, he has like a confrontation because in the diary she says, I ran away or I'm running away to L.A. with my boyfriend, whatever, some dude."
So and so.
Yeah. And so um, he asks around about that particular individual, and I'm
Cop
using
talk.
my cop talk.
Cop talk.
Yeah, so he asks around about that particular individual and finds out that his father owns like an auto shop.
Mm-hmm.
And is this what you were wanting to?
Oh yeah, that like he like has this chat with the father, and the father's like, "Well, he's in jail, so go find him."
Right.
So he like goes to like the county jail or whatever, and the boyfriend is like a real POS
Mm-hmm.
and like just talks shit about Marianne Matthews, the missing girl.
Oh yeah, that's her name. What's Nic
Yeah.
Cage's name in this?
Tom.
Tom. Well, good for Tom. So then our boy goes to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And basically in a city of what, 10 million people?
I have no idea.
Let's call it 10 million people. Just starts asking around.
Well, he goes to like different casting places
Mm-hmm.
and strip clubs and stuff, but I feel like there are probably a dime a dozen in LA, me knowing nothing about LA.
Yeah. I mean, let's consider the fact that the city that I was previously from at one point had 4 strip clubs.
Okay.
And its population was under, what, 50,000?
Yeah.
So, yeah, extrapolate that out and you got a handful of strip clubs to search.
Couple handfuls.
But either way, yeah. Either way, he goes digging around, searching around, asking questions, making statements, assuming, and then he also goes to like homeless shelters and stuff. Or
Not yet.
but I mean it's in general, like he's digging around looking for those places that this gal may have landed.
Yeah.
And then he which of these things happens first? He finds out where she had stayed at one point, or he meets Joaquin Phoenix.
He meets Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, so he meets Joaquin Phoenix at an adult bookstore,
Mm-hmm.
which is also known as a porn store or a sex shop.
Don't say
Or what else are they called?
that. Our listeners
Got
are too
anything else?
young.
We kind of warned them at the beginning, so.
Mm-hmm. An adult bookstore?
Yeah, so we're at the adult bookstore, Joaquin Phoenix, and you told me this, because again, no audio description, that he has blue hair.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. He's like a Tumblr girl from 2016.
Yeah. I have blue hair like 2 years ago. I don't know why you have to be like this. Anyway,
Hit us with what happens. What's he do with Joaquin Phoenix?
so he actually finds out that Max is Joaquin Phoenix's name. He has the hookup on the underground weird sex stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he employs him.
Yeah,
basically.
he basically like hires him on as an assistant.
Yeah. He then goes to the shelter where she had stayed. Like he just like goes and like asks around at the shelter.
And they're like, oh yeah, I recognize that gal.
Mm-hmm. And they still had like a suitcase full of her stuff. And that leads him to like the casting place, I think. The casting place for pornography. Yes.
Have you ever seen any of that?
I'm not even familiar with what the term fully means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw one, but I don't.
One pornography.
Yeah, I don't remember though.
Yeah. So this is where James Gandolfini comes in, and he goes and he like asks him, "Hey, have you ever seen this attractive young lady?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of her family members." And then how does James Gandolfini react?
Oh, he says something like, "Do you have any idea how much, or what's he say? Yeah, do you have any idea how much pussy comes through here?"
Pussy, that reverts to female genitalia.
Which, honestly, if I said, "Hey, I'm someone's family member," I don't necessarily want to hear, "Do you have any idea how much pussy comes through here?"
But he also like acts super suspicious too. Like, oh yeah, I've
it's
definitely
clear
never
that
seen her.
yeah, it's clear that he knows
Yeah.
who. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And Nick Cage then like sets up a sort of spy outfit across the way.
like a what's the word? Uh, what's it called when you're like posting outside of?
Stakeout.
That's the word. Yeah, like a stakeout.
Yeah.
And he bugs his phone, right?
Yes.
And this is where we hear James Gandolfini's character talk to another guy and say, "Hey, there's a guy here asking about that young lady that we had an interaction with."
That was later on.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was right here. I thought it was...
No. He stakes it out
Yeah.
and he like bugs the phone and then he goes and harasses him like again. He's like, "Hey, I know what you did, blah blah blah." And it's basically like throwing out guesses and stuff, but apparently like guesses well enough.
Right. He's basically trying to get him riled up enough to make a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So...
and he gets like the telephone number like off of the bugging device and goes and talks, like he gets the name, goes and talks to Max. Max is like, "Yeah, I know who that is. That's Dino Velvet."
Yeah. Everybody knows Dino Velvet.
That's
he makes
the jam.
Craziest, weirdest pornography you've ever seen. And it's all underground shit.
It's so wild.
Yeah. So, they pretty much try to directly contact him, right?
Yeah, I mean, they go to New York City because that's where Dino is based out of.
Right.
And
Nick's the setup is that Nicolas Cage is trying to like
commission
commission his own deal. And earlier on when we watch the film with Joaquin identifies one of the men in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Joaquin that identifies the
Yes.
masked man as a man called the Machine? And he's the guy in the film that does the murder.
Yeah, he's
wearing like a leather mask.
Yeah, and he has
or
like a
leather
pentagram tattoo on his right hand, like in the web between your pointer finger and your thumb.
Yeah.
He's got a tattoo there, and Nick Cage recognizes it on one of Dino Velvet's films. And it was also in the snuff film that he watched with the young lady.
Right. So Nick Cage goes to commission this film from Mr. Velvet, and his request is for a black woman, a white woman, and the Machine. And then the rest is up to Mr. Velvet as to what takes place. But Nick's final request was that he is allowed to watch it be filmed, right? Which is, I guess, probably not necessarily that crazy, right? If I'm going to pay someone to make a film, I might want to like watch it be filmed, even a non-pornographic film, right? Might want to just like take a look and make sure they're doing everything all good and well, right?
But what does he know about directing a pornographic film?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I guess, necessarily a matter of like whether you know, because even like I'm thinking, even if I paid like funded a short film, non-porn film, I don't know anything about making films, but I still might want to like pop my head in and see, that they're not violating like OSHA regulations.
Oh boy, I didn't realize you were so
safety first.
Interested in OSHA violations.
Safety first.
This boy requires so much attention.
Yeah, he's being a
real boy
baby
tonight.
today. So,
but what happens?
What do you mean? He agrees.
What?
He agrees to make the film.
Yeah, but then what happens?
Oh, A shitload. Uh, so from here, he like sets a date and a place or whatever, and Nic Cage shows up, and
Like on set.
yeah, on set. So earlier on, when he was first taking this job, along with the wife of rich man that died, we meet a lawyer man. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
do you remember the lawyer man we met?
I do.
He's there on the film set, like he knew the whole time.
What? What happened? Was it a trap?
Kind of. Yeah, it was a trap. Basically, they're gonna put Nic Cage out. They're gonna kill him
Dang.
because he found out too much. So it turns out that the lawyer, along with the man that died, had funded this film together, and they Nic Cage finds out through some like weird banking shit that they basically spent $1 million on the film.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they've got Nic Cage, and Nic Cage sent Joaquin Phoenix home. He's like, oh yeah, we're done. All I gotta do is wrap this last little bit up and we're good to go.
I'll look you up if I'm ever in LA.
Yeah. Well, guess what? They've got Joaquin Phoenix tied up.
No.
So do you want to go through this like showdown-y fight thing?
Well, first, Nic Cage has to go and get the film. He has to bring it back to them.
Oh yeah, that was the like. They're like, listen, we've got your buddy here, and we're gonna kill him. So bring us the film, and we won't kill him.
Yeah.
So obviously you got to bring the film, right?
Yeah. So he brings the film, and they set it on fire, and apparently it was the only copy. And then they tell Machine to set Max free, and Machine just slits his throat.
Which I guess is kind of setting him free, but free
Yeah.
into the spiritual universe.
Yeah, that's true. But then there's like a big showdown, and they like handcuff Nic Cage to a bed, like just like one of his arms. It's nothing sexy. And there's Nic Cage like reveals like how much money was spent, and the lawyer gets real antsy-pantsy about it because obviously James Gandolfini and like Machine and Dino Velvet were not like given that big of a cut, so they get upset about that. And there's like a big shootout. The lawyer dies, Dino Velvet dies, Nicolas Cage stabs Machine.
Yeah.
But James Gandolfini gets away, Machine gets away. After the chase scene, like he calls his wife.
So he's called his wife several times through this like searching situation, and she's like, "Just come home. I'm sad and want you to be home." Type of situation there.
Yeah.
But when he calls her at this point, he's like, "Listen, I'm very close to being done with this job," and she says, "I'm very close to being done with this marriage." Basically,
Yikes.
They don't use the lines they use are not nearly as clever as what I just said. But he basically decides that he's got to follow through with the job.
Well, yeah.
To get justice for this girl that was murdered.
Yeah.
So he tracks down James Gandolfini.
Oh.
Yeah?
You forgot a big part.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. He like calls Mrs. Christian.
Oh, yeah, he called sorry, I thought it was after the James Gandolfini thing. Yeah, he calls Mrs. Christian, who was the original lady that hired him for this job, and informs her of all the things that went down, and basically tells her, yeah, your husband paid to have this film made. It's not just something he happened to have. Like, it was something that he purchased and commissioned.
And the lawyer made it a point to say earlier, like, he did it because he could, right?
Yeah, he did it because he was rich enough to just be able to do it. Yeah. So then I think he schedules an appointment to go visit her
Yeah, they make
the
a
next-
plan to like go
to
the
see
like,
each other
next morning.
the next day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then cut to him going to see her the next day, and there's a doorman who stops Nic Cage and says, "She took her own life last night,
Mm-hmm.
and she left this envelope for you, and she left this envelope for the victim, Marianne."
Mm-hmm.
So now Nic Cage is very motivated to get some justice
Mm-hmm.
for the girl and now the woman that just ended her own life.
Yes.
So then he goes to find James Gandolfini.
Mm-hmm.
And he does. And he I don't remember what draws them to this abandoned house, right? They're at an abandoned house.
He wants to know where it was filmed.
Yes. Nick asks him to take him to where it was filmed. And so he does. And at that point, Nick and James Gandolfini have like a scuffly fight where he eventually gets control of James Gandolfini and just leaves. Like he ties him up or handcuffs him
Mm-hmm.
and then just leaves.
Well, he's gonna like
Shoot him.
he wants to shoot him.
Yeah, he like seems like he's going to shoot him, and James Gandolfini says, "Oh, with a gun that's registered in your name, you'll have to dig the bullets out."
Mm-hmm. Like it's a lot of like, will he, won't he pull the trigger? Like he eventually like walks away, but then he calls Mary's mom, tells her what happened, basically to like get permission to like
to kill a guy.
to get revenge.
And she says, "Yeah, go ahead."
Yeah. So he like goes back in and like pistol whips James Gandolfini to death.
Which, according to a bit of trivia that I read, the pistol whipping takes place off screen. Is that true?
Yeah. Well,
So-
like the first one doesn't, but the rest of it does.
Right. So that was apparently one of the moves they had to make to get it out of NC-17.
Oh.
With all of the like violent sex stuff that takes place, that's the one they had to make an adjustment on.
Dang.
Yeah. Which I would imagine it's because it's like the total sum of violence and sex stuff that takes place. So that was
Mhm.
just an easy place for them to make a cut.
Yeah.
So now James Gandolfini's dead.
They burned the building.
Well, actually, James Gandolfini really is dead. But his character in this film is now dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nic Cage burns the building down.
Yep.
Which
and then he
I've
goes on
noticed
this.
that's kind of a theme with Nic Cage, burning stuff
Yeah, he
down.
likes to burn stuff down. Burn it down.
So yeah, then Nick goes back to New York to
Yes.
find the machine.
Yes. He like calls around to all the local hospitals to find out if there's like a white male who presented with like a stab wound, like an abdomen stab
Yeah,
wound.
because in the
A
scuffle,
stabdomen, if you will.
there you go, that's the one. In the scuffle, he got stabbed. So he calls a bunch of hospitals, eventually finds the right one, and gets the guy's full legal name, which, believe it or not, is not the Machine.
What?
It's like Todd or some bullshit.
I don't believe you.
Either way, he gets his name, goes to his house, and there's just a record player with like house music, but it's skipping on this same like loop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really like pretty spooky scene where Nic Cage like walks into the house and is like slinking around, and like the audio design is really great here, or sound design is really great here, because I kind of got the full feel for like the music and the like Nic Cage slinking around, and then I don't know where the machine jumps out, and
There was so much tension.
yeah, that was like a tense scene.
Mm-hmm. It was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, but then there's a huge fight, and a
Nic Cage gets thrown out of a window,
mm-hmm.
and the machine follows him. Oh, he's also wearing his mask at this point again,
yeah.
or his hood.
Yeah, and Nic Cage
Nic Cage.
keeps asking him to take the mask off, and finally he does, and says something to the effect of, "I mean, did you expect to see a monster?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just a regular dude who likes."
He's just like a white nerdy dude with glasses.
Yeah.
Chubby white nerdy dude
So
who lives with his mother.
yeah, So then Nick Cage kills the machine.
What? That's what happens?
Yep.
I don't remember what this was in reference to, but I wrote it down in my notes, and it says, crying Nick Cage is my favorite.
Yeah, so after it's all like done, he has a good little weep and then calls the mother, tells her it's all been done, and then returns to his house. And we're all not sure here because earlier his wife said she was thinking about leaving. But hooray, his family's there when he gets home.
Yay.
It's great news.
Then the last scene is him raking his leaves in his yard, and he gets a letter from Marianne's mom.
It basically says, hey, thanks for caring. But yeah, even without audio description, I feel like it was not like completely unreasonable. And I mean, again, I ask you some questions, you told me some things, but it was not painfully difficult to watch without AD. So
like some of the other ones have been.
Yeah, like it's got a lot of really great like sound design that helps kind of guide your experience. What'd you think?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It was really long. Like, it could have easily been like a half an hour shorter.
Yeah, so the guy that directed this, Joel Schumacher, actually died earlier this year in June. But he was born in 1939, so he was
Holy God.
81. Or no, his birthday hadn't occurred yet when he died, so he was 80. But he directed the 2004 Phantom of the Opera and a huge pile of other stuff, but like that was the only one that like I was like, oh, cool. Phantom of the Opera. He also directed some House of Cards episodes, I guess.
Oh. That makes like one of these nominations very funny to me.
Oh, okay.
Do you know when this movie was made?
Again, I made the mistake because I was like reading trivia and stuff, but I initially thought 1997. Turns out it was 99.
Yeah. So he was well into his career. The director was well into his career by then. One of the nominations was for a Stinker Award.
Oh, boy.
For worst sense of direction. Stop them before they direct again.
Oh, wow.
So for a dude who was in his 60s at that point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily dig through like the rest of what he directed. There was something else quite notable in the list, though.
Could it have been Batman and Robin?
Yes. It was exactly Batman and Robin, which is another little bit of trivia. The Machine's house, like while they were filming those scenes, the neighbors were so like nice and pleasant that Joel Schumacher, the director, gave them some signed Batman and Robin posters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He was like, hey, you guys are really cool. So there's some Batman stuff.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, 99, not necessarily like terribly surprising.
He had a flip phone.
Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't consider. I didn't notice any cell phoning stuff, I guess.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he did use payphones a couple of times.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he had a flip phone that he was calling his wife on fairly often. What's your rating?
Probably like a 6-8.
Dang. I gave it a 5.
Yeah. I just
if it was shorter, like, I think I would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah, and so the thing that kind of pushed it for me was the like sound design and the music and stuff helped me kind of visualize it, and I may have been just visualizing it far better than it looked. So that kind of pushed it for me because the sound design I thought was really great. Which the music had a very heavy Moroccan influence to it.
Is this the trivia?
It's no. My trivia is a completely different thing. But this is a bit of trivia. The guy that did the music for it traveled to Morocco to get the music for like a seedy underground world. So kind of.
Is that what Morocco is full of?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not up on my Moroccan knowledge.
Do you want to know what the IMDb score is?
Oh, probably like 4.2, right?
No. It's way close to your score.
Oh, really? What is
Yeah.
it?
6.5.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't garbage, but it also wasn't, Did it win any other awards or?
It won a couple of Golden Fleeces for its trailers.
What's a golden fleece?
Do you want to know like the historic Golden Fleece or?
I just hadn't heard of that award before. Had you heard of it?
I had, but I don't know what it is offhand.
Yeah. But just for the trailers?
Oh, interesting. Oh, weird. I don't know if this is a good thing.
Okay.
I'm like reading them.
What do you?
I'm reading about it, and what I'm finding is that the Golden Fleece Award it's a tongue-in-cheek award given to public officials in the United States for their squandering of public money. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I think this might not be the same one.
Golden Fleece Award movie?
Yeah.
Golden Trailer Award?
So while you look for that, I can give you my real bit of trivia.
Oh.
Do you want my real bit of trivia?
I thought we were going to talk about blind stuff before then, but I guess not.
Oh, we can. Yeah. What blind stuff you got?
You were talking about blind folks today.
Oh, yeah. I guess this relates to the HBO announcement from earlier.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily need to get too crazy in it. I just noticed there are some folks in the blind community, and I'm sure there are folks in lots of other like minority or othered communities, i.e. Candace Owens, who seem to rally against positive change for some reason, and I cannot understand why. I don't get it. This announcement from HBO, though they had to be like severely pushed, is a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to see a comment somewhere for, whatever reason, someone basically saying that audio description isn't all that necessary was just extremely disappointing. And to know that it was a blind person saying it is just really disappointing. And it fits in the if you're not going to help move us forward, just get out of the way thing.
Yeah.
There's a phrase or a saying. I don't know what it is. But really, like, I get that you may be very comfortable with the status quo, but there are a ton of people that are not.
Yeah.
And like the people that are pushing for positive change should be allowed to push for that positive change without scrutiny from people who are comfortable just chilling.
Yeah. Well, there's that one time that we had been talking about that older guy in the blind group that I pointed out to you, where he was like talking about how entitled like young people are.
Young blind people entitled for wanting like audio description or for wanting braille in certain places or like accessible restaurant menus and stuff. And it's like, that is not entitlement. Yeah. It's not.
It's just very like, wow, back in my day. And it's like, yeah, right. Well, sorry. Back in your day, a lot of shit was fucked up. So can we move on?
Right. Yeah. Just because things were bad doesn't necessarily mean they have to stay bad. And it doesn't take away from these people to not have to go through that suffering.
Right.
Like, why would you not want the future to be a better place?
Right, exactly. It's like it paves the way
yeah.
for things to just continue progressing for future generations of people with disabilities.
So, I don't know. I do feel like a lot of people are bitter and angry and upset, but that a lot is small when compared to a lot of people who are absolutely celebrating something like that. And it may seem trivial to some people, like entertainment, but obviously we have a podcast about entertainment. So, it's big for us at all, but it's big for me as a person who really enjoys film and television to be able to have the content that I used to enjoy like from HBO specifically, to be back in my life as something that's accessible. And yeah, it's small. It's just film and television. It's not a matter of whether or not I can go to a certain school or whether or not I have certain rights. But right now, in these fucking wild times, like, the little things are really important to me.
Right. Well, I mean,
And like, to trivialize small stuff like that is just not helpful.
it keeps you from like consuming the media that like everyone else gets to. And it's not like you're a very like, I'm super into, you know, all the mainstream things, but like you don't get as much out of like pop culture-y things that like everyone else does, like everyone who is cited does.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's like, that may not seem like a very big deal to some people, but it is a really big deal. We're constantly consuming media.
Yeah, and there are definitely instances where I'm like, who's that or what's that in relation to some recent piece of media that wasn't described.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And like, why shouldn't you get the same or similar experience that other people do? Like,
right, yeah, and that's the thing too, is like there's this idea that it creates some kind of undue burden on like HBO or anyone else. But honestly, if you're going to be a media company, specifically a billion-dollar media company, I genuinely think that you can afford to, you know, pay a couple people to do some audio describing. Oh, something awesome and interesting that I failed to tell you. This is not just an HBO Max thing. This is a Warner Media thing.
okay, so movies too.
So, other television networks owned by Warner Media, which includes
Oh.
Cartoon Network,
Oh.
which includes Crunchyroll,
Oh.
which includes Rooster Teeth.
Oh.
So,
My
I used to
goodness.
consume a lot of Rooster Teeth media.
Mm-hmm.
Red versus Blue and similar. So it's really exciting that this is the umbrella and not just HBO Max.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's silly. It's television. It's, you know, sit it next to, you know, the right to vote. And it's just a silly little thing.
But it's not a
But it's
competition.
right. Why can't we do it all at once?
Yeah.
And we are, and we're doing great.
Both is good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's all I have to say about it. Fuck you if you're like trying to trivialize the struggles and the wants and needs of other disabled people.
Well, and I mean, like you also think about like intersectionality
Yeah.
and like the fact that like, I mean, you're a white dude, which is not to say that you don't struggle. Obviously, like you have disabilities, but like thinking of like the people who have other, like othered identities.
Yeah.
Who can see something like Lovecraft Country
Mhm.
or Angels in America or like stories about their identities.
Right.
And how important that is.
Yeah. It's really disappointing that Lovecraft Country is not audio described, and that's the one I'm really hoping they go back and do.
Yeah.
So
It's good, but I stopped watching it because like I didn't I don't know, I guess I felt bad, and like if they're gonna go back and do it, then I'd rather just watch it with you.
right. Which it's really funny because I sent you screenshots last week of a
Mhm.
message that I sent to the HBO Max
Yeah,
Facebook account
yeah.
and the Lovecraft Country Facebook account saying, hey
Yeah.
guys, are you gonna get around to audio describing anything? And then like today this news
How
breaks.
long have they been in litigation?
I
Did it
imagine
say?
yeah, I would imagine since March, but I don't know.
Okay.
We'll post the
article.
the
in
article,
show notes
and
for sure.
it has the entire, oh god, if our lawyer friend listens to this, she's gonna tell me what the term is. The
The case notes.
case notes, basically. Yeah, it's essentially that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the progress, guys.
Yeah.
It was the American Council of the Blind
Mm-hmm.
and American Council for the Blind of the Blind.
I hope it's not American Council at the Blind.
Either way, they played a big part in it, and disability rights advocate. was a big player in that case as well. So I'm
Good.
really happy about it.
When you sent it to me, I freaked out. I was really excited.
It's so exciting. Because honestly, it seems like they're the only major player right now without AD.
Yeah.
So
Because like the other movie channels are definitely like players of sorts, but like
honestly, Showtime's close, but
yeah.
yeah,
I'd really like for the other ones to get audio description.
yeah.
Because
If this
again, like Showtime has Queer as Folk, Showtime has the L Word and the Real L Word and the L Word like reboot. And
wait,
like,
I thought it was called Queer as Fuck. Isn't that an Office joke?
I don't
That
know.
Michael thinks it's called Queer as Fuck.
You are the Office expert of the two of us.
No, and so I think honestly, it's getting to the point, and HBO. What's up, boy? And HBO was honestly hung out to look like a bunch of assholes, because if you've got Netflix, if you've got Disney Plus, Hulu, Amazon Prime, all of these providers having audio description, shows with audio description, all their original programming has audio description, and then HBO's out here doing nothing.
Yeah.
They look like real dingles.
Well, and also the Apple Plus TV or whatever, they're the newest kid on the block, and they have audio description.
Yeah, which I saw Tehran. Have you seen that show?
I haven't.
Anything about?
I've seen.
You're familiar with it.
Yeah.
So there was a problem for a while. People weren't able to access the English audio description, but they updated it this morning, and it's now on. So if you want to watch Tehran, go watch it. But yeah, we did it. And honestly, it will surprise me if Showtime and Stars and similar don't follow suit, because they'll be the assholes out there on their own if they don't. So really, I mean, great. This is just great news. I'm super excited. I got a piece of trivia for you.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hit me with it.
About the film 8mm that we watched today.
Oh, yeah.
Who was Eddie? Was that James Gandolfini's character? I think his name was Eddie.
Probably.
So when Nic Cage goes in to tap his phone.
Oh, yeah, that's James Gandolfini.
Yeah, there's a thing sitting on his desk.
Sure.
It's Nic Cage's Oscar.
Whoa.
Yeah. I guess they covered it in like lace and like black strings.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's Nic Cage's Oscar from Raising Arizona.
Sure.
I think that's the one they got an Oscar for. Either way, Nic Cage's Oscar is just sitting there chilling.
Under like ladies' panties?
I don't know. It just said lace. So,
he has won one Oscar.
And it was for Raising Arizona. But yeah, there you go. A little Easter egg for you. So if you decide to watch this after listening to this episode, keep an eye out for when Nic Cage is tapping the guy's phone.
It was for Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas. Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah.
There was something else.
About audio description stuff, or about Nic Cage, or...
Oh, the Golden Fleece, the Golden Trailer thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a Golden Trailer award, but it says Golden Fleece. I don't know where the Golden Fleece part comes from, but it's basically just like, obviously, like about trailers.
Best trailers. Cool.
Yeah. So that was...
Nice.
That's what that was about.
You got any announcements for the kids? Any last minute housekeeping?
Please go onto our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're at Site Attendant on all those things.
Share us with a friend.
Don't make us get a TikTok. Please don't make us get a TikTok. Yeah, please share us with your friends. Share us with your family. We did kind of get a little raunch in this episode, but we're not usually that bad. Yeah, if you are into weird fuck stuff or porn related stuff, and you have friends that are also into that, share this episode with them. They'll enjoy it. Mm-hmm.
So that's your homework for the week, is share this with your most biggest pervert friend. Which, on that note, I'm gonna try to reach out to a disability and kink podcast to see if we can get a connection going on there.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So yeah, share with your friends, share with your pervert friends.
Share with your pervert mom.
Yep. At Site Attendant, anywhere you can find us, using the @ thing.
Also, if your pervert friends don't have an iPhone, we're on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify,
Amazon Podcasts.
Amazon, Google Podcasts. We're all over the place, so there's no excuse. Add us to your weekly listening schedule. I know I get inundated with a bunch of different, like this morning it was like, this one posted, this one posted, this one posted, this one posted. So I'm just like, add it to the rotation, homies.
We would like to be one of them.
We would.
All right. You got anything else?
I'm good to go.
Love you. Bye.